Hello, beautiful creative people. Kyla Givehand here of Giving Hands Creative, and I have been tagged. Thank you to Keisha Bell for tagging me and giving me 5 interesting questions to answer. So here are my responses to those 5. Let's see, I wrote them down because no way I was going to remember them. The first question was just to say a little bit about me and why I make videos here on YouTube. So I am a mixed media book artist. I make books by hand, and I do art journaling and a bunch of other creative things. I'm also a poet and writer and an editor and publisher. I run multiple companies. Giving Hands Creative is one of them, where I work with writers and artists and creative entrepreneurs to help them empower themselves, create businesses, take the thing they love to do the most and turn it into some sort of profit as a sustainable way to live, doing the thing that you love. So I do a lot of different things. I also run a literary journal and small press called Generations Literary Journal. So I do a bunch of different things. My husband and I are starting some ventures working with couples, and so I do a lot of different things, but ultimately everything that I do is about helping people empower themselves and live the life they really want to live, because I believe that we all can do that and be happy and healthy and humble and very, very human in the process. So that's me in a nutshell. I started making videos on YouTube last year, really 2012, December 2012. I was working with a client, a one-on-one client, and was getting the sense that I was feeling like I wasn't practicing the thing I was most encouraging her to do, which was really truly embrace who she is and what she does, and to really push beyond her comfort zone and her boundaries, because I felt like they were holding her back, which ended up being the case. But I had to look inward and take some of my own advice. And 2 years ago, you could not get me to just take a photograph. People would put cameras in my face, and I'd do like this, and I didn't want, I was constantly in photographs like this with like my hand in front of my face half the time. And so I really, being on camera and sort of putting it out for anybody who stumbled upon it or wanted to find it, putting it out there in a way for people to find it was like the scariest thing I could ever imagine, which is why I said this is the thing I have to do. So I thought, what would I even do on a video? And so I thought, well, one of the things that I know just from family and friends, I make these handmade books. They're usually blank journals, and people are always asking me, what is that? What is book art? I don't understand what you mean by that, and what do you do, and why do you even do that? So I thought that would be a good way for me to get out of my comfort zone, creatively empower myself and give myself a personal challenge, and then a way to empower other people if they wanted to make their own books, and then also to kind of demystify the process of bookmaking. It doesn't have to be this fancy thing. And in the process, I ended up demystifying the whole get on YouTube and share your gifts, your talents, and your passions with the world. So it kind of did a whole bunch of things and opened up a lot of things in my life. So that's how I came to YouTube as a person doing videos. I've always been a YouTube watcher. I think it's just a brilliant idea to have a way for people to share the things they love and are passionate about and are really good at, and that they want to share with other people. This is an amazing platform to do that. So it helps build community around the things that you love. And so I just thought it was a way for me to do all of those things in one sort of way for me to show up in the world. So that's my very long answer to a tiny question. I say the next one was, who inspires me? Wow, that one was really hard. I absolutely am inspired by my mother, who I think is just an amazing woman, who I think when I was a teenager I did not understand and appreciate her, because I was a teenager, and as a teenager most of us think our parents are like who is this person, this alien person that doesn't know anything and is telling me all the wrong things and is giving me a curfew and all that stuff. So my mother and I had a very tumultuous sort of relationship when I was a teenager. I was very rebellious and very stubborn, and I'm a Capricorn, so very much Capricorn in that way. And she loved me to a fault and without question and unconditionally, and absolutely I am inspired by her. When I became an adult and I started paying attention to her history and her past and what she had accomplished in her life that she never talked about or never shared with anyone, it was really inspiring. It was like being reintroduced to my mother for the first time. And so she's my best friend, and I love her, and she totally inspires me. Every time we talk on the phone, she does or says something that inspires me, or she's doing something in her life with her ladies at church, or her friends, or her sisters, or the nieces and nephews in the family, or her father. I mean, always helping and doing. And so I'm totally inspired by my mother. And if you watched any of the 2012 videos, she was staying with us for a long time in 2012, and we were helping her get her health in order, and she made drastic and miraculous changes in her life to take back her health and empower herself. And to me, that is like the ultimate inspiration, you know, to be 70 years old and saying, I still have life in me, and I am going to heal my body and live out the rest of my life with quality. So I'm totally inspired by my mother. And then my husband, Damon, you all have probably heard me mention him if you've been watching the 2012 videos, and totally inspired by him. He makes me feel like I can fly. He gives me this like encouragement that I don't even sometimes feel like I deserve. So super inspired by him. And then in terms of art, I'm absolutely inspired by, there's this 90-year-old woman, and I don't even know what city she lives in. It's escaping me right this second. I can't remember, but her name is Samela Lewis. She's a 90-year-old artist. She has been all over the world making art. She does all kinds of art, everything from printmaking to oil paintings to sculpture. She is amazing. I'm going to put a link to a little short video about her. Just super inspiring. I look at her work and I'm just floored and in awe. There's some photos of her painting when she was younger and doing some charcoal work, I think, and it's just super amazing and inspiring. And then to hear her talk about art, she's so articulate at 90, and just, she's someone I would love. I would do anything to have, just sit down and have tea with her and talk to her and have a conversation with her. So totally inspired by Samela Lewis. You should look at her work and just explore her and see, yeah, the beauty of that. And then definitely inspired by Faith Ringgold. She is a writer and also a quilter and an artist, and she came into my life when I was a teacher teaching middle school. I used to use picture books to teach kids about the oddest thing, grammar, but it was sort of a non-threatening way to teach kids about grammar. So Faith Ringgold's books are just amazing and beautiful and wonderful. And then I got to see her actual quilts, where stories are stitched around the edge of the quilt. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Inspired by the quilts of Givehand, the women in Givehand. If you don't know about them, again, I'll put links for all this stuff that I'm saying. Just this history and the story behind those quilts almost brings me to, no, not almost, the very first time I saw a little documentary about them brought me to tears. But it's so moving to me that many of the women who created those quilts were never educated in any way, never taught any kind of math or tools, but the quilts are geometrically perfect almost. It is, I don't know, things like that fascinate me, the sort of extraordinary things that humans can do when they're just being creative and allowing creativity to flow out of them. So Samela Lewis, Faith Ringgold, the women of Givehand, and their quilts. And then here on YouTube, people that you probably know, My Style, her work just floors me. I love her raw honesty. She also is someone who inspired me to even start making videos. I was watching videos of her, and she just shows up. in her pink uh, hoodie that she wears when she wants to be comfortable, and she doesn't, she's not like super made up and hair all special. Like, she just shows up and makes art and shares it with the world, and that to me is like raw and pure, and it doesn't get any more real than that. And so I'm super inspired by myself and her work and what she does. Um, and then someone that's kind of my contemporary, but her photography floors me. Her name is Rachel Eliza Griffith, and I'm a Cave Canem fellow, and she is a Cave Canem fellow as well, poet, and she was taking photographs at one of the retreats that we do in the summer, and I had never met her. I didn't know anything about her, and I was very camera shy, but I thought I really should have some photographs, and I let her take my picture, and her gentle spirit, that the way she just interacts with you, it's like the camera isn't even in the room and she's having a conversation with you, and you don't even notice that she's like clicking, and it's just this, it was a beautiful and amazing experience, and I absolutely credit her with helping me get over this hump of being able to even be in front of a camera. So, but her photography is, I don't know how, it's almost like she paints this photograph, but she did it with a camera. It is absolutely stunning and amazing. Her black and whites are by far some of the best I've seen. So Rachel Eliza Griffith, and I'll put her information below too. All right, so I could go on and on about who inspires me. Enough. All right, I think the next question was, what is my favorite medium? And I wasn't sure what that question meant exactly, like my favorite supply to use or my favorite sort of substrate to work on. I wasn't sure. So blank books are absolutely my favorite thing to work in. Canvas I like, but I really love the blank book because it's portable. I can take it with me. I can share it with other people. I can pass it around. I can write in it. I can art in it. I can tear pages out of it if I want to and distribute. It just has so many possibilities, and so I love that. So blank books are absolutely, and I'm not afraid of the blank page. I absolutely love a blank page because to me it's an invitation. It's saying, here, come, create on me, whether that ends up being, finger painting or writing poetry or creating art. So the blank book is absolutely my favorite. But then I said, I don't know if that answers that question properly. So I said, okay, I'll show my favorite actual medium. This is it. Basics iridescent medium. I'm not a glitter fan, and I'm not a sort of bling bling kind of girl. I'm super plain. I like things simple. I could wear Converse every day and a shirt like this and some jeans, and I would be fine. That would make me super happy. But this, I like things that are iridescent, and that when you shift them in the light, you get something different depending on the angle of it. That mesmerizes me, like holograms and holographic images, and I don't know if you remember those magic eye pictures where you had to like stare really deep into them and there would be this other image behind it. Things like that really like can hold my attention, which I have a very short attention span, so anything that can hold my attention is like awesome. Iridescent medium is like that for me. Like, I put it over the top of something and immediately it just changes into this other thing. So take a regular blue paint and put iridescent medium on it, and all of a sudden you have this other amazing thing, right? So, and this is my favorite brand, Basics, Liquitex Basics, iridescent medium. Get you some of this. You will love it. It's awesome. Okay, then my favorite color changes every year. Last year it was purple. The year before that it was like burnt orange. This year it happens to be teal. So I thought I would, I'm actually coveting and hoarding this last container of golden cobalt teal. This stuff is like gold right now because it's out of commission. They don't make it anymore. And I think I use like a tiny little dot whenever I use it. So teal. Teal and turquoise, those colors right now are really feeling, I feel really drawn to them right now this year. So I don't know, right now, that's my favorite color. And then 3 things I would take with me on a desert island. And I took this very literally. The word things I took to mean really things and not people. So I'm just going to make an assumption that my husband Damon is on this island with me, because if it were just a general, he would be the first thing. So I'm going to say he's already there. He's a people, a person, a human, not a thing. But then in terms of things, what would I take with me? Absolutely a blank journal. And I am a fountain pen lover. I collect fountain pens, and I prefer a fountain pen or a rollerball pen or a gel pen. But if I were on a desert island, I would actually want to have a ballpoint pen because they last longer. I can get more writing out of them than I could in a fountain pen. So I would have to leave my fountain pen behind, and I'd take a ballpoint pen. So a blank journal, ballpoint pen, and then a flare gun, because while I would love to be on an island and just be, sort of off the grid and have time to just be with my thoughts and meditate and swim in the ocean and, lay out in the sun, at some point I probably will want to come back to civilization. So I'm bringing a flare gun with me as well. And then I think the last question was I kind of wrote it down, but I didn't write the whole question. I think it was, what product would you be? If you were going to be a product, like an art product, I'm thinking, what would you be? And I wrote that I would be a little watercolor travel kit. And this one happens to be Winsor Newton. It's not my favorite or anything. It's just the one I happen to have on hand, and I can't even really, I can tilt it a little bit, but these little, it comes with these little containers. They're like these little tiny, and then each one has a square of watercolor that fits right into it, and then those fit into this, and they're replaceable. So you can move them around, you can replace them, and then if it runs out, you can put your own watercolor, like the sort of gouache liquid one, in here and just keep using it. But what I like about this is it's compact, you can travel with it, and you can do a lot with a watercolor kit, to just keep it real. So those are my answers, and that took me way longer than I thought it was going to take me because I just started rambling. So again, Keisha Bell, thank you so much. I'm excited to get to know you on YouTube. We are just connecting, and so thank you very much I'm honored that you would select me as someone to tag. And I think the next 3 people I'm going to tag, I don't know who they are because I have to go and search and see who hasn't been tagged yet. But I can tell you I'm going to start with Mycel. If she hasn't been tagged, I'm tagging her. And then I don't know who else. I have to figure out who else hasn't been tagged yet, and I'll tag them. So thank you. Oh, I'm going to tag Lizette Markham. I don't think Lizette has been tagged. She's simply Art OC, I think is her name here. And if she hasn't been tagged, I'm absolutely going to tag her. So Mycel and Lizette, I'm coming for you if you haven't been tagged. And then I'll figure out who my 3rd person is in a second as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you back here soon. Bye. Mwah. Hey, go out. Create something beautiful today. Bye.